Morning, 7th grade. Actually, it's afternoon now. Today what we're going to do is we're going to apply the scoreboard strategy to mixed numbers, which is fractions. So 9, 5, 18. And we're going to do adding and subtracting mixed numbers. And I am on page 12. Remember, you may be on a different page. Okay? All right. So all we're going to do, this is really a review. A lot of you know how to do mixed numbers, and I saw you going ahead and finishing it on the worksheet. Mixed numbers, mixed fractions. Okay. All right, so if we add, I'm going to show you a couple different strategies, and I call it the one-ster. So if we had a fourth, 1 and a fourth, plus 2 and 2/3. Okay? What I like to do is take your fractions out. So if I have 1/4 plus 2/3, that's right, I need to find a lowest common denominator, which is going to be 12. And remember, sometimes you can just take the product of the two denominators. Okay, so I need to multiply the numerator times 3, denominator times 3, numerator times 4, and numerator times 4. Always rewrite. Okay, so 3. 4 times 3 is 12. My addition sign. 2 times 4, 8. 3 times 4 is 12. Now, okay, I have a common denominator. So if we're adding, it is going to be 11/12. Okay, this was an easy one. I didn't have to create it. I didn't have an improper fraction, and I'm going to show you in the next example what to do when you do have an improper fraction from adding the two fraction components. So don't forget, I need to add my 1 and 2. So 1 plus 2 equals 3, and I add the fraction. Okay? And I find this a lot easier because when you're doing mixed number, yes, you can convert this to an improper fraction, but sometimes you don't have to. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and show that to you now anyway, and I call it Texas popcorn, just as a review. When we convert mixed number to improper fraction. Okay, so if I have the example above, 1 and 1/4, I call this Texas popcorn, and what I do, and I'm going to show you why it works, is I have a T for Texas, right? And the abbreviation for Texas as a state is an X. So TX is the abbreviation. So then you start at the 4 and you make a popcorn. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. You draw the line and you place the denominator. Okay? So really what we're doing is we're changing this 1, that whole number, into a fraction by 4/4, which is why I did the multiplying here, but I add the numerator, because I have 5 parts, I have 5 quarter parts. Okay? So that is Texas popcorn if you need to change it to an improper fraction. Okay? All right, so let's look at a problem. Let's do one more. We'll do it at the bottom here. Oh, that's right. I'm going to use a different pen. Well, let's see. I'm going to choose green. All right, so we're back to adding. Let's do an example. I want you to go ahead and try it by yourself. Freeze the video. See if you can do it, and then check your work. I'm going to go ahead and video. Keep on taping. Okay, so if you have no idea, just keep on watching and we'll kind of walk through it. So what I need to do is I need to take my two fractions. I'm going to do 1/3 plus 3/4. Okay, I need a common multiple, don't I? So I need to multiply, and it just so happens that my lowest common multiple is 12. How did I do that? You're going to find that you do, the factors here are 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, here is 4, 8, 12. And you know that the least common multiple is 12. Many times, yeah, it's just the product of the two denominators. So I'm going to multiply this times 4, times 4, times 3, times 3. Always rewrite. So it's a 4. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. So I get 13/12. Okay, so that is an improper fraction. Now if you notice, I'm going to add my wholes, so 2 and 3 equals 5 and 13/12. But what I'm going to do is convert that. You have your 5, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the one-ster. I have to remember how to draw this. There you go. The way to remember it, because remember when we're dealing with whole numbers, you can actually write it as a fraction. So I look at my denominator, and I'm going to pull out a 1. What is the value? 12/12. Okay, let that sink in a little bit. Now if I add, what is left over? If I subtract 13 minus the 12 is 1/12. What do I get? So this is my 1. So 5 plus 1 is 6, and 1/12 is your answer. Okay, there you go. Let's look at one with subtracting. Okay. And yes, it doesn't, we're still using all the same algorithms that we would for anything else. Except for the fractions tend to be a little bit daunting because there's a little bit more math involved. So 2 and 1/4, and I'm going to subtract 1 and 5/8. Okay, so first what I want to do is I want to look, if you notice, if I change this, right, the common multiple of those fractions, I want to make them look alike. That's right, I need to multiply this times 2. Because I had a common factor, we're only looking at the fractions. I want to make the denominator equal to, because I want to have them in the same increments. So if I rewrite this, so it's 2/2/8. And I loved it. One student in the other class said, well, shouldn't we simplify this fraction? Well, the whole point is we created an equivalent fraction. Even, yeah, it looks like that's what you're doing. When you're putting it in like terms, we just changed it so it works with the 5/8, okay, because we want the denominator to be the same. So can I subtract, if you notice, if I take the whole numbers out, can I subtract 5 from 2? Absolutely not. So here's what that's right, you're gonna use the one-ster again. Just a way to remember that, okay? So I need to pull, and you're borrowing from that whole number. So I'm going to, if I add 1, that's right, I'm going to create that 1, plus 8/8, okay, plus the 2/8. So all I did was I borrowed and I created that fraction, and I'm still subtracting 1 and 5/8, okay? Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite it. So 1 and 10/8, subtract 1 and 5/8. Okay? Now if you notice, the 1 can subtract the other 1, so I no longer have any whole numbers, do I? So 10/8, so 10. So now it's just the numerator. 10 minus 5 is 5, and we leave the denominator the same. Okay? There you go. All right, so what I want to do, I want you on the next page to, let's take a look at this. And go ahead and glue this in your journal. And what I wanted to do is show you why we're doing what we did. If you notice on this problem, they have 2 1/4 kilograms of bananas. So we're not going to look at the bottom here. You have 1, 2, and then we have 1 out of 4, right? Okay. And they have 1 1/3 kilograms of grapes. Okay, so they actually put it over here. So 1, where is, I apologize. Hold on just a second. I'm going to cut this video and take a look at this, but the main idea is I want you to do the mixed numbers. I'm going to add another video that talks about this, but I want to check this out first, and I apologize for giving this without getting a thorough look at it. So go ahead and do that, and I will be right back.